Today, I'm going on a style journey with British jewellery designer, founder of both Links of London and Annoushka, the creative director and entrepreneur, Annoushka Ducas MBE. Hello and welcome, Annoushka.
Oh, thank you. So lovely to be here.
Oh, it's lovely to have you here. And I've always been fascinated by the mystique of diamonds, as most women are. Probably men are too. And I would love to ask you, as a jewellery designer, there's controversy between man-made, lab-made, and the real thing.
Well, I'm a real, maybe a bit old-fashioned, but I am a real believer in the real thing. I mean, the thing is, there are so many diamonds in the world. If we never mine another diamond, we'll still have diamonds in the world. So I can't understand why we need to fabricate diamonds. I don't understand it. And also, so many people rely on income from the diamond industry and all the things that go with it. So for me, it's there's no choice. It's something from nature. So when you create a diamond in the lab, it's going to be the same every single time. Whereas I think what's absolutely so fascinating about stones is that each stone has its own characteristics. It's all one is slightly different from the other, and that's the joy of jewellery. For me, as having not trained as a gemologist, so I don't look at it with that kind of eye.
Now that you mentioned one thing that I'm also fascinated by, there are so many stones in the world, because you hear rumours of mountains of diamonds in Russia and Romania. What's the story there? Is that the market trying to control prices?
I don't know. I mean, I think they genuinely are discovering, as technology gets better, and I think they are discovering new deposits all the time. But what's really, for me, it's much more exciting is all the semi-precious stones and new stones that no one's ever heard or can't even pronounce. So quite often, when one of the guys that comes and sees me in to sell me stones, he comes looking like the builder with his kind of toolkit and stuff. And he'll say, well, you've got to have a look at this. And it might be something I've literally never heard of. Just fascinating colours and different colour variations. And, it's just so interesting to learn from somebody who goes straight to the mines to understand where they've come from, and also to really get a feel for who mine them. So increasingly, I really try to buy stones from where I know they've come from. You can't always do that. Jewellery industry is notoriously muddy, I'd say.
Yes.
But I try as best I can to know where they've come from.
So you buy diamonds that have been through the Kimberley process,
yes,
which is totally ethical.
Totally ethical, and so we know where they've come from. We know they haven't been dug up by children, etc., etc. And where I possibly can, I really like to buy diamonds that have come out of something else, or it's come from melted down jewellery, or But the way that you buy diamonds is they come in a packet. I'm sure you know this, but they come in a packet, and so you can't absolutely identify that the whole packet has come, because they're graded in size, has come from melted down jewellery or etc. So it'll be a real mix, which is kind of slightly why I'm going back to, I don't see the reason to be using lab-grown diamonds, because that's part of the joy, is that that they've been used before.
Because I always think of you as doing these beautiful coloured stones and clever settings and the charms and all of that. Are there particular areas in the world that are really good for these coloured semi-precious stones?
I think there are a lot. There are so many areas in the world. I mean, Sri Lanka, Brazil. I go to Ethiopia, not recently actually, but Ethiopia's got amazing, interesting deposits, whether they are opals or they found emeralds there now. And there are so many places, the Philippines. I'm so lucky because I choose to go on holiday where I think there might be interesting stones.
That's really interesting. I know you're an inveterate traveller. Have you ever visited any of the mines?
I haven't. I have in Ethiopia, and then in the Philippines, I went to the pearl farm, which is kind of fascinating.
Gosh,
I knew
tell me
nothing
about that.
I knew nothing about pearls actually. And this amazing. Well, I just got a call from a Filipino lady a few years ago who said, "I'd like to come and show you golden pearls," and I was like, "I don't really that interested in pearls." But why? But the very fact that she was a Filipino, I was like, okay, well, come and see me. And the reason for that is because everything we made at Links of London was made in the Philippines. So I feel very grateful to that country. Anyway, she came to see me, and she explained to me that pearls are normally sold by the bucket load at auction. So buckets, giant buckets.
And all graded and the same size, or are you buying...
I think you'll buy a grade, but then you've got to sort it from the bucket.
Wow.
But the point being is that the pearl farmer, the original pearl farmer, will get 0.00% of the bucket load. So I went back to the Philippines, and so these golden pearls that I went to look at come from a little island called Iloilo, and they'd had a terrible typhoon or hurricane, and so they'd wiped out all the infrastructure for the pearl farmers. But going there was so fascinating because I literally didn't know that a golden pearl is grown. It takes between 3 and 4 years in the oyster. They put the oyster down, and they have to take it up every month to scrub every single oyster to stop contamination. So when you learn that and you meet the farmer who's scrubbing it, that's suddenly just it's a whole eye opener. And so for me, the kind of result of that was, okay, so the problem is that most people, exactly as you said, want to buy pearls in a perfect row. They've got to be graded, graduated, and that can take years and years. But for the pearl farmer, he might only have, I don't know, 50% of what they call AAA pearls, but so he can't sell the others. So the way I approach jewellery is I will buy all the pearls that I can, but I'll design the setting so that I'm able to use all the different shapes, so it's much more forgiving on the pearl, if that makes sense.
Yes.
It's fascinating, and B, it means I can use pieces, stones or stones that other people might not.
And a golden pearl, is it golden?
Yes.
Silly question, but...
And I tell you what's so interesting, it's not a silly question, because the way you can tell the colour of a pearl is if you just prise the oyster open just slightly, the rim of the oyster will dictate what the colour of the pearl is.
God, how beautiful. Actually would make a lovely documentary, wouldn't it? I'm sure.
I did a little film.
Oh, did you?
I did a film, it's on my website.
Now, you are a woman designing for women. Are you conscious of the fact that a lot of your customers are women buying for themselves?
Gosh, I never expected this, but 85% of my clients are women buying for themselves.
That's lovely.
It's
but you didn't expect that when you founded Annoushka? I
wanted it to be the vast majority, but I didn't expect it to be quite that high. I'm absolutely thrilled by it. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Because the thing I love about Annoushka is that, yes, it's very luxury, but there's also, I think you're very clever and mindful of the end cost. So I think it's like you use 14 karat gold, did you say, rather than
those chains that you've got on? They are 14 karat, but that's about price, but also predominantly about how hard wearing it may be, etc. But I think it's different if you're a woman designing. It sounds so obvious, but if you're a woman designing for women wearing jewellery, it's a bit like you understand how clothes should fall, how they feel, how they make you feel, etc. But I think not everybody understands, for example, I only pierce my ears like 7 years ago or something.
I find that extraordinary, the jewellery designer who's late to the ear piercing process.
But despite the fact I've done that, you know, I am super conscious, I think as a result of not having had pierced ears, of the weight of an earring, of the fact that it needs to move, it needs to, you know, it needs to be playful. Because actually, if you think about it, once you've got an earring on, you've forgotten what you've got on your ears. Unlike rings, bracelets. So it's really important. It's super comfortable. You're not constantly thinking, God, I can't wait to get this off. You know. So those are some of the considerations, I think.
So would you say you design first off with yourself in mind? What would I really love to wear?
Yeah, always. Sadly. Well, not sadly, actually, because that is how I design. And also, if I wouldn't wear it, I won't make it.
Yeah, then it shouldn't be in the collection.
It shouldn't be in the collection.
Yeah,
No.
I've always said that. Now, you are self-taught and you're in an industry full of gemologists.
Yeah.
Any imposter syndrome ever because of that?
God, so I often get asked this question, and yes, total imposter syndrome on one level. So if you'd asked me 5 years ago, no, maybe 7 years ago, and I'd never met you before, what I did, my answer probably would have been, I have a jewellery business. I wouldn't have said, I'm a jewellery designer. And I think that despite the fact that I absolutely design, you know, with my tiny little team, I design all the pieces. But I think that came from not having trained. I can't draw. If you could see my sketches, they are worse than shocking. And I think it was just that. I think it's literally just that therefore I can't call myself a designer because I can't actually physically kind of draw it. So I think there's imposter syndrome on that, from that perspective.
Well, you've done very well on that. And sort of moving forward, any really exciting projects up your sleeve that you can share?
Not that I can share. Got lots of very exciting projects for next year, but I'm not quite ready to share yet.
Collaborations?
Yes, collaboration. And actually I did a collaboration a few years ago with The Vampire's Wife, with Susie Cave, and so we are going to extend that. So we're going to make that into a really lovely collection of earrings.
Oh, how fantastic.
But it's not done yet. So
and did that come about because you were friends?
Yeah.
Or?
Friends, and Susie lives in Brighton, and we live, you know, just along the coast. So yes, it came about from that. It was a fun project. We literally did it at the kitchen table, and you know, it was just a really fun thing to do.
But I often think those lovely sort of, I don't want to call them effortless ideas, because no idea comes without sort of a lot of inspiration. Yeah. But I think when creativity moves in a fluid way, you come up with some magic.
You're so right. It's also really interesting kind of. It's a interesting thing to do, because you're quite aware of the other person and their approach. So, you know, you always do it this way, and then suddenly somebody comes from the other side, from fashion perhaps, in Susie's case, where she doesn't understand the whatever the complications are, and I don't understand this. It's just a really fascinating.
Yes, because jewellery is, by its very nature, it's so hard. Yeah. There's nothing that flows other than chains, I suppose. Yeah. But nothing flows round the body like a dress does.
So it's a
very different dynamic,
very
isn't
different.
it? So today we're going on a style journey. I'm going to kick off by saying, how did you decide what you were wearing here today?
Oh, God, today. How did I? Well, I love colour. I really love colour. So, I love that in my jewellery, and I love that in clothes. Green is one of my favourite colours, and I think the jewellery looks good on green.
Is it because you've got green eyes, do you think?
I've got no idea. I just love green.
Yeah. But gold
weirdly,
does look beautiful on green, doesn't it?
Yeah. But weirdly, I don't wear a lot of green jewellery. weirdly. But I love green clothes.
As a foil.
Yeah. You wear a lot of green, don't you?
I love... I'm a khaki girl.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's a blonde thing, isn't it?
Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I know. I love green. And I don't wear black too close to my skin. You look great in black.
I figure I'm wearing a lot of...
I get
a lot of blonde.
Yeah.
But so, green roll neck,
Mm-hmm.
jacket by...
Jacket by...
Testing you there.
No, I'll tell you in a minute. I've got to remember. Look it up. I'll have to look it up. Can't remember. But cheap and cheerful.
But how do you put your look together in the morning?
Well, I like it to be as simple. I mean, in a perfect world, I like to wear a dress or a jumpsuit every day because then there are no decisions. So I do like that. But actually, I wear lots of trousers and very, very simple. And I've learnt recently, as I say, I love colour, and I used to really gravitate to pattern, but that doesn't do much of my jewellery. So I've had to kind of rein that back a bit. The most important thing is I want to feel totally comfortable, but very pulled together. I think it's so much about confidence and how you feel.
Yeah.
You know.
Would you say you were exposed to fashion at a young age?
Oh, gosh. My mother had a kind of interesting fashion sense.
Because was she Russian?
Yes, she was Russian, yeah. She was Russian. You know, when you're growing up, you're fiercely conscious of what all your friends think.
Because you're an only, is that right?
I'm an only child, yeah. And my mother she used to come to school, I mean, in the most outrageous gear. And everybody else was wearing, twin set and pearls and tweed. And Mum would arrive with pink dyed hair, a kind of poncho with feathers all over. I mean, you just wanted to die.
Are we talking 70s?
We're talking late 70s, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, it was really bad. And you could see people in the corridor going, have you seen that woman?
And did your mother allow you to make your own style choices, or were you encouraged to have pink hair and a poncho?
No, she didn't make me have pink hair and a poncho, but she did get me in some really shocking outfits. I mean, Laura Ashley, but I mean, frilly collar, all probably good now.
But it was
actually.
the era.
I know, but I felt like I was a real tomboy.
So that's my next question, is what was your earliest sartorial memory, your style memory, that you realised the impact of clothes, either in a good way or a bad way? I figure it might be a bad way.
Well, that was the first way. I wrote this apricot frilly shirt. That was a really bad way. So very...
that your mother had chosen for you?
Yeah, we went to Laura Ashley together, and she said, "Oh, darling, you got to wear this." Anyway, I remember absolutely not wanting to wear that. But I think this is kind of a weird answer to your question, but I think my very first real memory of how important clothes, shoes, etc., is I worked for my godfather was Mark Burley. And very early on, it was my first job, actually. I worked for him as his PA. And he obviously didn't think much of my shoes or whatever else I was wearing. So he said, "Darling, I'm going to take you to this funny new little shoe shop that's just opened in Old Church Street, Manolo Blahnik."
Lucky girl.
But I didn't know that at the time. And they were... Anyway, he bought me 3 pairs of Manolo Blahniks.
Good godfather.
Yeah, good godfather. But I don't think I appreciated that at the time. I just thought these are just bloody uncomfortable because at the time I haven't got the most beautiful feet. But anyway, he insisted I had to wear these to work every day, and it would make me feel, So that was my most vivid memory.
And did those Manolos make you feel grown up and empowered?
Yes, I think they definitely did.
Could you describe them to me?
Yeah, I could certainly describe.
3 of the same in different colours, or?
No, one was navy blue, kind of I don't know what you call that, kind of kitten
Yeah.
Manolo heel, I guess. Quite pointed. I think lizard strip in the middle, and just a kind of rather beautiful Manolo court shoe, but
Yeah.
not a traditional looking court
Yeah.
shoe. The other one was tan, kind of dark tan, and it had kind of red, like a red ribbon going through it. Same kind of heel. He was very keen on the heel thing, which was, I think,
Mark was.
yes, which is why I think he didn't. That's why he took me, because I think I've never been gravitated to heels. Well, you can see I don't gravitate to them now.
Yes, but you're tall.
I know. I can't remember what the third one was, actually.
But
It
did
might have
Mark
been red.
have,
I think it might have been red.
and did Mark have quite an input into which shoes he was going to buy you?
Oh, 100%. He said, I want to see that one, and that one. Oh, yeah, no, it wasn't. And also, I guess I was 17, 18. I must have been 18. So I wasn't really going to argue. I was like, yeah, whatever. And, style, I mean, of all the people in the world, talk about style, he was,
Mark Burley just had it
Yeah.
exuding
Yeah.
out of every pore, didn't he?
And actually, on the shoe thing, so I remember going into his dressing room. I mean, you would love it. It was just blue shirts, all in absolute, descending order. Different kind of white, green. I mean, all absolutely lined up, immaculate. And he had this collection of shoes that you'd just die for. And he was so vain, he used to wear his shoes one size too small. He did.
Wow, that's painful. I thought it was only
I
us
know, it's
girls
hilarious.
that suffered for heels. Oh, my goodness. Did he have an impact on the rest of your style choices, or was it particularly your shoes that he was...
I think he thought if he started with the shoes, it would kind of sort itself out. So I don't remember him being particularly. No, I don't think so.
But I do think there's something in this. If you've got one beautiful thing on, whether it's really beautiful jewellery or really great shoes or a fantastic jacket, the rest, it does elevate the rest.
Yes, it absolutely does. Yeah.
Were you interested in jewellery from an early age?
No, absolutely. Actually, that's not true. My mother had a extraordinary jewellery box, not brimming with precious, expensive jewels, because it was stuff she'd bought at a market or things that she bought on her travels. It's really eclectic, which might speak a bit to the way I design, actually. So I used to really play with that when I was little and try things on and things. But I don't remember... I certainly never thought I wanted to design jewellery as my career.
And when she died, you obviously inherited her jewellery.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever go back into her jewellery box and sort of look for inspiration there?
A lot. All the time.
How interesting.
All the time. And it's so interesting, isn't it, how, very few ideas are truly original. And, there might be something that...
Reworked originals.
Yeah, reworked or different interpretation or different scale. So, yes, I go to it a lot, actually. And it's interesting, every time you go to it, you see something different. You have a different perspective on what's in there.
Yeah, how lovely. Do you keep it in its original jewellery
I
box?
do. Yeah, no, I keep
Lovely.
it.
Being in the design world for so many years, have you ever felt that being stylish was a burden? Or was sort of an important part of who you are?
Yes, I do think it's an important part of who you are, how you present yourself, and most importantly, it's about the confidence thing. Because I don't know if men feel like this, but I think as a woman, you don't really feel dressed until you feel like it's pulled together. And then you're kind of ready to face the day. And you asked me earlier about how I decide to get dressed in the morning. everything I own is very unfussy. So I will never be wearing something that I've got to kind of keep adjusting the bow, or I've got to, I don't know, I just want it to be on, over, and not worry about it anymore.
When do you feel you really acquired your fashion mojo?
God, I think I'm probably still working on it. I think it's probably more recent.
Yeah, it's interesting how the more I talk to women about this, the later it can be.
But do you think that's because you kind of bit more confident in yourself?
Yes, I do, and I think you turn inwards to a degree, and you just say, "What works for me?" And I love that when people ask advice, I just say, "Okay, start with how you're feeling, and then picture yourself in this event or that event, or walking down the aisle. How do you want to feel when you're walking down the aisle or walking into that boardroom?" And take it from there.
Yeah. That's true.
Talk about boardrooms. You and your husband John famously created the jewellery brand Links of London in 1990, same year as Amanda Wakeley.
I remember coming to your very first shop on the Fulham Road.
And then you sold it in 2006. Do you think your style changed dramatically then? Because you'd done a great deal. Bravo. You weren't working flat out anymore. You were probably spending more time with the kids, school gates, all of that. Do you remember consciously changing your dress sense?
No, I don't, because I've always been kind of smart, casual, I guess, in my approach. So I think it's less about that and more about, as we just said, more about feeling more confident about what my style is, what I'm comfortable. Because I absolutely know if I try something on, it's like, oh yes, this feels like home. And the other thing might really not feel like home, despite the fact it had a lot of hanger appeal. Does that answer the question?
It does. Going on to jewellery, you're a famous jewellery designer. How do you feel about the mega brands now muscling in on your territory, I guess, with monster advertising budgets and even bigger price tags? How does that feel to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because in one way, when we started Annoushka in 2009, the landscape was very, very different, as you quite rightly say. There was very little between Links of London, silver, Cartier and the high jewellers, where you really needed to spend, probably 6 figures to get something that wasn't what I deem as corporate jewellery. So there was very little in between. My goodness, the landscape's changed. But it's frustrating in one way, but in another way, it's for those women that don't want to wear identifiable pieces, albeit they may be more affordable than some of the higher pieces that those brands do. I think, in a way, it's given them permission to buy more of their own jewellery, but quite a lot of those women don't want to. They want to wear something that's much more personal, that means much more to them, and is kind of designed in, it could be one or it could be very small quantities. But so I think, we can't compete. I mean, there's no question about that. There's no competition in terms of marketing spend, etc., etc.
But you created this beautiful concept, I have to say, which I've been lucky enough to go on the journey of my life in 7 charms, whereby you make custom pieces for customers who are inspired by different moments or chapters in their life. How did that idea come about?
Do you know, the really honest answer is I absolutely loved Desert Island Discs, and I thought, as I was listening to it, I was thinking, I could so do this in jewellery, because music's one thing, but jewellery is something that will be here forever and will, I really feel that jewellery is all about the moment, what it means to you, why you got it on that particular, for that particular, date or whatever memory it encompasses. So that's kind of how it happened. I just thought I could make a piece of jewellery for each stage in people's lives, and it will be here forever. And you've probably seen the little scrapbook that comes with it,
which is beautiful.
And so for each commission, we'll make the scrapbook, and it's a true 18-karat gold autobiography of somebody's life. And so for me, there's something really special about that, which will last forever.
Talking about chapters in your life, in 2013, you were awarded an MBE. Congratulations. What did you wear to the palace?
I wore a Roxander dress.
Describe it to me.
Green, fun enough.
Funny that.
Yeah, green. Just completely plain. And I had a hat that was made by a friend of mine, Vivian Sheriff.
Oh, yes.
And she made the hat. And I had some fabulous earrings, and off I went.
Fundamentally, who do you think you dressed for? Yourself, your husband, the event?
Myself. Definitely myself. Because if I keep saying that, but if I don't feel comfortable, I'm going to be miserable all day or all night.
Would you say you message through your clothes at all?
Probably, but subconsciously. I don't think I set out to do that. I think I just set out to feel really comfortable and kind of secure in my own clothes, if you like.
Does your weight or perception of your body affect the choice of what you wear?
Definitely. 100%.
Don't
we all go, do I look fat in this? Does my bum fat in this?
Who do you really trust their opinion in terms of what you're wearing?
So I have I have a friend of mine who's a stylist, actually, called Sarah Price. I'll ask her. Sometimes she'll help me.
And does she go shopping with you, or do you shop alone?
No, sometimes she'll go shopping with me. More importantly, actually, she'll buy me, or she'll pull things for me, which I would look at and go, Sarah, I am never going to wear that.
Yeah.
But she's really clever. And what's been really interesting about that particular journey has been that, I might say once a year, something like that, but I look back at the clothes that we've bought together, and all of them are relevant now. All of them.
That's a real tick in the box.
It's
isn't
a
it?
real tick in the box. She'll just say, the shape's changed, you've got to wear that with wide trousers, not skinny trousers or whatever. It's really interesting.
And would you say she ever takes you out of your comfort zone?
Oh, often.
And
Often.
in a positive way?
Yeah, I'll look at something and I'll go, I'm just not going to wear that. And she'll go, on, try it on. And I'm like, yeah, actually.
And then you see
I
her a
quite
month
like this.
later and you're living in it.
Yeah. I'll send her a text going, oh, this has just changed my life.
What would you say you reach for when you want to feel empowered?
Well, I think my jewellery, I definitely do. I think, whatever you're wearing, and a really good pair of earrings is great. A really good, one thing here. You've got really simple clothes on, but it just looks great. And that just
it transforms, doesn't it?
Well, as you said, it transforms, or it just elevates, or it just makes you feel good.
Would you consider you have a style icon?
I knew you were going to ask me this.
Well, it is one of the regulars.
Absolutely. I've really thought about it, and I think somebody like Talitha Getty.
Wow.
So I think she's super elegant, kind of pretty timeless, bit bohemian, and she doesn't have. It's not a kind of you know, because you want to say Audrey Hepburn, but I wish.
Yeah, but you're not Audrey Hepburn.
But, you know, yeah, I think she was just super stylish, actually. So, yeah.
And had that eclecticism.
Very eclectic. And
Yeah.
if you look at my wardrobe, it's pretty eclectic. So, yeah, I think Talitha Getty.
Lovely, lovely. If I were to ask someone to sum up your style in 3 words, your style DNA, what 3 words would you want that person to say Annoushka's style is?
Well, I'd like to say stylish. That'd be helpful. I'd like them to say... I mean, it depends how they use the word eclectic, because that could be... it could be like she's got absolutely no clue. It all
No,
works.
but I would use that word eclectic for you. And
Would you?
I think it's a very positive word.
Okay, well, that's okay. What would you?
No,
Give me the third.
no. The question is to you.
No,
So
I'm
we're 2
asking
down.
you, actually.
2 down, 1 to go.
I don't know what the actual word is, but I think quite kind of structured as well. And when I say that, it doesn't really matter if it's a floaty dress. It's still can be structured. You know, what I'm wearing now is still quite structured. So it feels like it's quite pulled together.
Yes. Like that.
But actually, I really want you to tell me afterwards.
Afterwards. But actually, I think I wouldn't be a million miles off those
Right.
3. Do you have one item of clothing that means the most to you?
Can it be my engagement ring? Because that's what really means
yes.
most to me. Yeah, that's really what I it was the first piece of jewellery I ever designed.
I was going to say, did you design it yourself?
It was the first piece I designed, and when I designed it, I guess this is my approach to designing jewellery, but I didn't realise that at the time. I knew I wanted to wear it absolutely every day.
Yeah.
Which I have done,
Yeah.
literally every day. So therefore, it was very practical. You can see it's kind of very flat. You know, there are no claws that things are going to get stuck in. And I have literally worn it every day. Never thought I was going to have a ruby. I thought I was going to have an emerald until I realised that once you put stones on your skin, you kind of quite quickly see what works and what doesn't work. Anyway, it's a rather dirty-looking ruby today, but that's the thing I wear every day.
I love that. And did you choose the ruby together?
Yeah. Chose it together.
And then you added a lot of diamonds to
I've
it.
added more now, because that's the middle bit.
Oh, brilliant.
So the middle bit's the original bit. And then I thought, 33 years, 4 children later, bigger is better.
Bigger is better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought I'll just
The
design.
ring that kept growing. And now on to planning. And we've talked about having a stylist, which I think is really interesting. And as a designer, do you have a sort of design uniform, sort of clothes that you can effortlessly put on every day so that you can focus on designing jewellery?
I think it's not very original, but I think a really good pair of jeans. I think
Who do you go to for a really good pair of jeans?
Well, it depends a bit. I go to Frame.
Yep.
I think Mother sometimes.
Yeah.
Those are the 2. I think.
So jeans and
jeans. Frayed great white shirt.
I love it.
Great
But
white
also,
shirt.
in terms of setting off jewellery,
Yeah.
the understatement of a beautiful white shirt and a pair of jeans and then great jewellery.
I mean, that's it, isn't it? You're set to go. Great, cocktail ring or great pair of earrings, and then you can go anywhere, really.
Yeah. That all sounds gorgeous. But would you say you'd had a specific worst fashion moment?
Oh, God, I've had lots of those. That Laura Ashley moment was not a good one, I have to say.
But that was as a child. As an adult.
Have I had a worst fashion moment? I mean, I think that I can't think of one very specifically, but I would think there have been lots. And my children I mean, Chloe will say, "Mum, what are you thinking of?" I just can't remember, but quite reasonably often, I'd say.
And do you listen to their opinion?
Yeah, Chloe worked for Chanel for quite a long time, so I'm like,
You
yeah,
listen.
I listen. Yeah, she's super stylish.
Now, I know you're a seasoned and passionate traveller. Do you pay particular attention to what your travel look will be?
Well, I mean, do I? Yes, I do. I want to be comfortable, and maybe I'm just really old-fashioned, but I want to be quite smart. I normally wear a jacket. Lots of pockets, because I've kind of got this thing now. I don't want to carry a bag very much, so I'll have something which has got pockets, which put my passport and all of those things. So it's quite a practical approach.
Yeah.
But I'd never go to the airport in kind of, leggings, and I just wouldn't. I think that goes back to being very fat, maybe.
Oh, stop it. So not. Good packer, bad packer?
Getting better packer.
What luggage do you use?
Eastpak.
Brilliant, aren't they?
Brilliant.
I discovered Eastpak a couple of years ago, and
brilliant.
I mean, I love my Vuitton, but Eastpak get the vote.
Eastpak, light, easy. Yeah.
Do you plan your holiday looks very carefully?
Again, I'm getting better at it, so because I've lost my luggage so many times since COVID. That now I have to try and at least get I've just been away recently, and luckily I had 3 days worth of things in my suitcase that I could wear. So, and I think I'm really trying to kind of dress more, so that everything works together. Lots of outfits for not too many pieces.
Sounds very organised.
Trying, I hasten to add.
When you travel, do you find yourself consciously seeking out local jewellery designers or fashion designers? Weirdly, I shop much more when I'm travelling than in London. Yeah.
Because I don't, otherwise the whole thing's so the same, isn't it, wherever you go.
Have you had any sort of surprising destinations where you've got to and thought, God, this is so rich?
Well, I mean, it depends what I'm looking for, but I'm in Guatemala for colour. I thought I'd never see colour like I had in India, but Guatemala is on a whole similar level. It's incredible. So that's amazing. There are so many places. Ethiopia. I mean, they're so beautiful, the people, and so elegant, just in white. They're just beautiful. So there are lots of different places for different.
Coming on to your wardrobe secrets, would you say you've got a guilty secret brand?
Connolly.
Oh. How sublime is Connolly?
Yeah, Connolly, guilty secret. I go there and
That's a
pretend.
very guilty
Yeah,
secret.
it is. I go and pretend to buy John the things. And they would just have a little look.
Have you ever justified something on a pounds per wear at Connolly?
Yeah, I think I do. I think I have to. I have to. But actually, it is quite good per wear.
It is, you're right. Coming on to values, what's your approach to sustainable fashion?
So I'm really, really trying to buy much less and better. So I go to Zara occasionally, but I no longer go to pop in for 2 or 3 things just because. Jewellery, obviously what I do, fine jewellery, is truly sustainable in that it will be here from now till forever. And I'm a real, I don't like plated jewellery at all.
Because?
Well, because if you've got something that's gold-plated, looks like gold, at the end of the day, it will wear off. And quite often people don't realise, because it doesn't mean it's inexpensive. You might buy a gold-plated, beautiful necklace and it might cost you hundreds of pounds. but I don't think people realise it's gold plate. And then when you've swum a few times and it sits next to your skin, the gold will come off. And then effectively, unless it's replated, and most people don't do that, it's landfill, you know.
And why don't most people replate? Because they're unaware that it can be done?
I think they are unaware that it can be done. I mean, I had a girl who was doing some work for me recently, and she said, "Oh, I never wear that anymore because it's kind of, the colour's all gone off it." So I'm like, "Well, just get it replated." Hadn't even occurred to her. She just didn't know. I was staggered, actually. She didn't know that it was gold plate. She'd spent a lot of money, and yet it's gold plate. Anyway, so sustainability in jewellery is something that's important.
What do you do with your clothes when you've had enough of them?
I will give them to a charity shop.
Do you ever sell them?
No, I don't sell them. I don't sell them. I mean, maybe I'm just lazy, but no, I really, I'm very involved in the Prince's Trust.
Yeah.
And some of those, I can't remember the name of the charity, but where they will give their clothes to young people who are needing to know how to go to their first interview and get
Smart
dressed.
Works.
Exactly, Smart Works.
Love that charity.
Love
I think
that.
It's just brilliant.
Yeah. So I do that quite a lot.
Yeah. Would you ever consider renting?
I haven't considered renting. I suspect there's a whole load of admin involved in renting.
I think you're right. And it sounds like you hold on to your clothes.
I love my clothes. Yeah. No, I mean, so I wouldn't not consider renting on principle.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's just about just the admin. And also, I think you only get it for 3 or 4 days or something. So what happens if it doesn't fit or it doesn't, or look dreadful in it? And then I'm back to square one.
What is the oldest piece in your wardrobe?
That's a really good question. I've got lots. I've got lots of my mother's clothes. You wouldn't have thought so from what I said earlier, but actually.
And clothes that you wear?
Yeah, clothes that I really wear. I've got quite a lot of clothes in the dressing up cupboard that belong to her too.
But favourite piece of hers that you wear? Tell me about that.
I've got a rather beautiful Yves Saint Laurent blazer made of, it sounds absolutely ghastly, but it's gorgeous. It's kind of lavender moiré silk, I think, stiffer than silk.
And what sort of era would you say that's from?
I think it's probably kind of 70s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I can't wear it very often, but I absolutely love it, and it really makes me think of her.
I was going to say, does it bring you closer to?
Yeah, it definitely does.
How lovely.
Yeah.
How lovely. Well, on that happy note, let's turn to some quickfire questions. What fashion advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Keep it simple.
Fashion or beauty trend you would consign to room 101?
Rah-rah skirts.
Your last impulse buy?
Oh, impulse buy. It'll be a pair of shoes.
Views on tattoos?
Ghastly.
Beauty treatment you couldn't give up?
Not many beauty treatments go here, I'm afraid. I could do with taking some up, I think.
High end or high street?
Mix.
Bling or bear?
Well, obviously bling.
Minimalism or maximalism?
Minimalism.
Couture or charity shop?
Nice to go to couture, but, charity shop too. Both.
Crocs, cute or puke?
Oh, puke.
Sneakers or stilettos?
Sneakers.
Skinnies or boyfriends or wide legs?
Wide legs.
Bodycon or boho?
Boho.
Party wear or PJs?
PJs.
Cashmere or cotton?
Both.
Hoarder or editor?
Hoarder.
Charity shop or resale?
Charity shop.
Shapewear or sexy lingerie?
Sadly for John, shapewear.
Tights or stockings?
Stockings.
Bikini or one piece?
One piece.
Trilby or Tracy?
Trilby.
And finally, one last question. At the end of the day, what do you or don't you wear in bed?
I just wear my jewellery. All of it.
You're a bit like Coco Chanel, just number 5. Love that. Annoushka, thank you so much. What fun to chat all things style and jewellery with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. I've got a lot of our questions to ask you now.